Hi there. Whether we know each other or not, I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. I'm H.D. Alleman. Hi. I am a spiritual counselor, and I use that term for all the things I could call myself. That's just the simplest way to put it. I'm a clinical mental health counselor, and I'm also a channel and medium. And whatever clients that show up to work with me need, that's what we get out and use. But I am a combination of those two things, a hybrid, and I like it. And so I just refer to myself as spiritual counselor, just for simplicity. The reason I'm making this is because in 2024, which is what year it is when I'm filming this, so if you're finding this at some point in the future, hi there, it's February of 2024. And I feel like I could maybe help share a message. Like, what would be the goal of me doing this right now is just to come in and maybe normalize some things for people, okay? 2024, there's a lot going on. There was a lot going on in 2023. There's been a lot going on. You could say that at any time. It's not so much about the year, but this year in particular, because I work with people in individual sessions or in group settings, there's themes that show up, and what seems to be showing up right now, what's tripping people up quite a bit right now, but also what's helping quite a bit right now, I'm going to call parts work. Okay, so this may be a new concept for you. So I'm going to try to keep this brief. And I guess the goal of it is just to say, hey, there are a lot of people out there struggling. Some of the ones that are struggling can feel that it's time to make some changes and just are having a hard time either getting there and aligning with it, or just aren't even sure what change it is to make. They can just feel this drum inside of them beating, that something's coming. They don't know what it is. They know they need to make a change, whether it's a relationship or a career change, or there's discontent, just not as happy as they'd like to be. Maybe even just asking the question, like, is this it? Like, is this it? Is this what I'm here for? This is it? Yeah, seems to be a lot of that going on. Here's what is helping quite a bit. And again, this might be a new concept for you. There are a lot of different ways to get help when you are asking questions that you're not sure how to answer. One of my favorite ways, and what is working with a lot of clients right now, is called parts work. It's also referred to as internal family systems. You might see it referred to as ego state work. But just the concept, I'm trying to make this really simple. We are, and it is totally, so pause, it is completely normal and actually really healthy self-development when we can acknowledge that we are multifaceted, that we are prismatic beings that have different parts, that even if you look at it as ages, that there's a really young part in me that likes to play, that there's a really wise part in me that always knows the answer if I can get quiet and hear it. There's a total goofball in me that feels like she's 13 and wants to just tell everybody to F off and wants to just eat Cheetos. I mean, maybe. There are parts of self, whether you identify it as an age or if it's just, some people identify their parts as there's a critical voice inside of them that tries to motivate them to get out of bed in the morning and go exercise. Like, get up, you lazy ass. Get up. Might start even blowing the whistle and yelling at them a little bit. There's, parts that try to protect us, like, put your seatbelt on. Whatever voice that is that chimes in, like if you're driving down the road without your seatbelt, that goes, hey, you forgot your seatbelt, put it on. Yeah, there's a protective part. There's an empathic part that really cares about others. You might have a part that really has a heart for animals. It's actually really normal and healthy. It's not, and I think some people talking about it this way feels like, I don't know, that's strange. That feels a little bit like, I don't know, multi-personality disorder. Like, yeah, no. By the way, that's not the case. And if that actually came up for you just now, that's one of your parts that's actually just afraid of something new. And that's okay. New things are a little scary. It's actually really healthy to have different parts of us and to identify them and allow them to have a voice. It actually really is. And here's what that looks like. Like some of the clients that have shown up lately had never done this work. What they knew is that something needed to change. And so when I bring up something like parts work, and it's new, and even if I just have to say, I know this is new and I know it might feel a little weird, but if you'll just trust me, just for a little bit, even just for one session, let's just see if there's something here. I have never, that's a big statement. Never is a big statement. I have never had someone that showed up to work with me not be served by this in some way. Some take it and run with it, and it has huge change and transformation, outcomes for them. Some just become more aware and feel like a part of them they've been denying, or a voice in them that they've been denying, just gives that part a little bit more permission to engage. Maybe it feels more mild for some people. I've never had someone that wasn't served in some way or experienced something positive from doing parts work. So that's why I'm sharing it. What that does though, if you by chance are someone, or you know someone that feels like they are stuck, like they're in fight, flight, or freeze, there's a part that is resistant to change and moving forward. That feels like that's what's coming up in 2024 quite a bit, is there's just so much anxiety or maybe it's showing up like depression, or maybe it's showing up like just feeling frozen and unable to move forward, and yet there's something that feels like we're supposed to be doing and we can't really even identify what it is, what that's stirring up for people. And I have a real heart for it. I've felt that way before. But the good news is, whether you know how to do it yourself or not, that's your call. If you need to find someone to help you do it, go seek that person out. It's not hard. It's really not hard. It feels really good, actually, to feel that congruent. That's the goal, is to just be so clear on who you are, what you came here to do, and to start aligning with that one step at a time, one day at a time. Feels really freaking good. So you don't have to be stuck. You don't have to feel frozen. You don't have to feel anxious. That's all just signals that there's some work to do. If you're brave enough to do it. That's all it takes, is just a little bravery to go do something new. Because then what happens? Moving forward isn't so hard. Making decisions once you're clear on who you are and what you want to go do, aligning with that's not really the hard work. The hard work is identifying those parts, allowing a part of you that hasn't wanted to speak, that's been shut down for so long because change just seemed impossible. Allowing it to say, hey, here's what I really came here to do. Here's what really excites me. Here's what I'm so curious about. And yet I have this life I've created with all these people that rely on me and all these responsibilities that I can't do it. I'm not even going to listen to those parts because it's just not possible. Okay. If you say so. I don't believe it. I have lived all kinds of change and transformation, and I never want that to stop. As soon as I start reaching for something, as soon as I'm done expanding, I guess I'm going to just be done. I don't want to be done. I'm not going to be done anytime soon. Are you? So why would you turn that off? The way that I liken it, whenever I'm having this conversation with a client, is it's a little bit like your hand. Like, to me, to think that parts work is weird feels a little bit like looking at your hand and going, okay, like these 4 fingers, these are good. They're straight. They're next to each other. They make sense. But this thing over here, this weird little short one that's over here by itself, like, that's just strange. So I'm not going to use it. I'm going to just shut that down and pretend like it's not there. I mean, you could walk around in life like that and just use these. But I mean, do you see how silly that is? If you're blessed to have a thumb, the opposable thumb that lets us do all kinds of stuff, right? I know that's silly, but that's a great comparison to avoid any parts of ourselves that are totally healthy and normal and natural to speak. That's what creates discrepancy. That's what creates a lot of unhappiness. But when you allow them to all show up and speak, that doesn't make you crazy. Guess what happens? It means you get on the same page. What that feels like freedom. Because it's all in there. They just might be all locked away in compartments. That's how some people handle it. But what's even better is when you feel like a whole congruent self and you really get clear on what it is that you want. Moving forward and checking every day, like, now what? God, there's just nothing better. I mean, you might disagree with me on that, but I just don't think there's anything better, because everywhere I go and everything I do and anyone that crosses my path, it's intentional and it has meaning. And laying my head on the pillow every night, does it mean life's perfect? No. Do I have things to worry about? Yeah, I'm still living a human life. Lots of changes coming my way this year. Plenty to lay awake at night and think about. But it's not going to stop me. And while all that change is showing up, I can still be happy. Maybe not every moment, but a lot of moments. And I think the biggest part is I can breathe. There's peace. And that peace is just worth everything. Yeah. So what's going on? Parts work. Y'all, that's where it's at. At least that's how it appears. And if that's new to you, if that's something if all of your bells and whistles are going off, like, maybe I need to explore that more, go find somebody, Google it, find somebody that does parts work, or look for IFS, internal family systems, or ego state work, and go there. Just explore it. Certainly can't hurt anything, okay? It can only help. It can only help you be more in alignment. And hopefully a lot happier. Making decisions about what you want to do a lot easier. That's the goal. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I'll be back.